What's going on, everybody? My name is Miller Moss. I'm from Southern California. I play quarterback and I'm committed to USC. I'll be enrolling there in about 3 weeks. And happy to be here with you guys and welcome to the Sports Muse.
We're not on this stage just because of talent or ability. We're up here because of 4 a.m. We're up here because of two-a-days. We're up here because we had a dream and let nothing stand in our way.
What is going on, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in to yet another episode of the Sports Muse podcast. I am your host, Kevin Brumley, and on the opposite side is a young man I've been trying to get on the show for a minute. He's one of my favorite quarterbacks out in Southern California, and that is Miller Moss. Miller, what's going on, man?
What's going on? Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Man, I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. Committed to USC, signed on the signing day. So, I mean, that's huge for you, man. Let's start here. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I mean, in terms of kind of myself and USC football, I grew up a huge USC fan. USC was really the pro football team of my era, just in that when I started following sports, especially growing up in LA, born and raised in Southern California, there was no pro team in LA. And I feel like a lot of people don't really remember that era, but there was USC football and there were the Lakers, and that was pretty much it from a sports standpoint in LA. I mean, like, I'm not to say that that's nothing. Like, Kobe was awesome. Like, that was great. I had so much love for the Lakers at that point, but I was a football player always. So USC football was really what I grew up watching. I started playing quarterback when I was 4 or 5 years old. I played every position also at that point, but broke my wrist returning kicks, and my mom was like, you know what, it's just quarterback from now on. So I really fell in love with the position. I played basketball really seriously up until high school, like on the AAU circuit and stuff like that. We would travel to Portland, Texas, Florida, DC, whatever it was, which was really fun. I honestly think helped me so much playing football, just playing quarterback in the pocket and things like that. But once I got to high school, the morning lifts were the same time as varsity basketball practice, so it wasn't really a choice when it came to that. And it's obviously taken me to some pretty crazy places now, and I'm just really looking forward to see where this journey continues to take me.
No, that's all. And I'm all for playing multiple sports. And because, like you said, it bleeds into one another. The footwork in basketball helps with the footwork as a quarterback. So
Absolutely.
I'm completely with that. And I'm glad you said Kobe, is because the next thing I wanted to say is we talked a little bit about Malachi Nelson. And if people aren't familiar with Malachi Nelson, I think it's not really a question. He's the best quarterback in the 23 class, and he might honestly be the best prospect in the 23 class, period. He's that talented. And I was talking to him about, you and some of those Southern California quarterbacks. And he's like, Miller's just different, man. His mentality is like Kobe. And that's an exact quote from him. Miller's mentality is like Kobe. Is that something you strive for?
I mean, it is. And I love that Malachi said that. I mean, like you said, he's such a talented kid. And I feel like it's my obligation, just in the position that I was in, having him being young and coming up, to just kind of breathe all the knowledge that I gained back into him, so then he can then do the same, just like Bryce Young, JT Daniels did that for me. So like I said, that's just a disclaimer. I love Malachi. I think he's really talented. But I mean, yeah, I see that as a huge compliment, honestly, because like I said, the fact that I followed the Lakers in USC football is an understatement. And I think Kobe and the persona that he took on is something. And I don't think it's a basketball thing. I think it's just a life thing. And I think it's just the idea that whatever you do, I'm going to do more than you. And I think that's something that Kobe personified to the absolute max. And I think that's without question something that I've tried to take on. And then also the idea that as he continued to grow within his game, he realized that it wasn't so much about being better than Michael, but about, and I kind of touched on this before, but about breathing the knowledge that Michael passed on to him into the next generation. So I think that's a really powerful message. I don't think that I've arrived there by any means, but I do think that there were so many ways that he conducted his life that I really try to kind of take after him in.
So everybody watching this video knows that you're a USC guy. You even got the little banner in the back.
Yeah,
Were
fight
there
on.
were there any other schools that were close, or was it USC the whole time?
Yeah, I mean, there were other schools that made it very, very interesting, and I knew I was partial to SC going into the process. And I would talk about this with my friends, but like there were certain offers that I got like freshman, sophomore year that felt different. You know what I mean? Like there were ones that were big but didn't necessarily carry that emotional weight. And USC was like at the top of that list. Like when I got offered by USC, I like it was so surreal to me. It still is surreal to me. But knowing that I was going to be partial to SC, I wanted to make sure that I chose a school for really practical reasons, anyways, because I didn't want to make a decision that big off emotion, if that makes sense. Um,
Absolutely.
so, I mean, when it really came down to it, it was USC and Alabama kind of neck and neck. And then UCLA was probably third and LSU was fourth. I think partly just because I didn't get to visit LSU. My official was canceled because of COVID and everything. So that was obviously unfortunate. But yeah, I mean, Alabama brought a ton of really, really great things. And I think if you look at the success that they've had, it's hard to not be drawn to that program. I mean, I remember Tua got drafted and Coach Saban called me like, I can't wait to do this with you in 4 years. Like those are like powerful calls to get, you know what I mean? Especially when it's coming from someone with the pedigree like Coach Saban. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there were really, really practical reasons as to why I chose SC. I felt that the entire staff recruited me. Like oftentimes you'll have a relationship with the quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator and the head coach. But I really felt like I was walking into USC's building with comfortability with the entire staff. And I think like Coach Orlando would call and recruit me sometimes. Like I just felt like they were so unique in that sense. And I absolutely fell in love with Coach Harrell's offense. I think that he's a hell of a coach. I think he's a great dude. And I think he's really young and upcoming in this profession. And I think the last thing would just be being local. I do think as I get closer and closer to moving into school, I'm really happy that I'm 30 minutes away from my house. And my family's going to have the opportunity to come to all my games, and not just my mom, my dad, my sister, but like my entire extended family. So I do think that's a really invaluable thing that people don't necessarily think about until they're gone.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. I love that you said you didn't just want to make an emotional pick. It's like you said, people who might be a little bit younger or didn't follow football a ton when they were younger. USC was it, man. Like Reggie
Right.
Bush was like a human video game. But the fact that you're like, I love the program, and ultimately, like in a weird way, when you go to college, these people are almost like your family, your
No,
new family, and like you said, you felt welcomed by everybody, not a few, not just the offense, not just the offensive coaches, but by everybody. And it's too hard to pass up on that kind of situation.
definitely. Yeah, it really is. And I mean, like, like the school aspect was important to my family as well. And I think they checked that box without question. So yeah, I can't wait. And I think the family thing really resonates because you're no longer living, like, I'm no longer living in this room. Like, I'm I'm living on Fig Street in a dorm with my teammates. So yeah, I really can't wait. I'm so excited.
I mean that's awesome, man. And it's like it's really just cool to hear like these stories where like even the Nick Saban story. You're not going to Alabama, but like you hear those stories and you're like literally like that's such a dream. Like Nick
Yeah.
Saban, the greatest college coach of all time, called you up, and maybe the best, arguably at the time, the best college quarterback. He's like, I can't wait to do this with you. And it's just
Yeah.
like you're like, oh my God, I'm on the level. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, part of it for me is like was so crazy. I mean, at that time, my process was getting like I was getting pulled in a lot of different directions. So I don't think I wish I had appreciated it more. But there definitely is part of me that takes it in stride, and it's just like these things are nice, but you're nowhere near where you need to be at this time, like where you're gonna go. And I think that's just something that I have to maintain regardless of success in high school or college and hopefully the next level. You know what I mean? Just in that, like, there's no point that you've arrived. I mean, if Tom Brady is still training every single offseason, like, there's no reason that I should be like, you know what? Yeah, like, I had a great high school career. I should chill.
Yeah.
like, so that's definitely something that I try to remind myself, even with just kind of the crazy stuff that's happened. I've been training with 3D QB, which is it's based out of Huntington Beach. Um, it was Tom House's original kind of biomechanics thing, and then Taylor Kelly and Adam Dato took it over. And they've been great. I mean, like, it's interesting because like you get to go out and you see Goff and Stafford and Drew Brees and all these guys, Matt Ryan, like whatever it may be, like, and you get to watch those guys train in their process. So I think it's a really unique deal.
Talk about like that quarterback class, because
Yeah.
I don't even think I realized, until I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, of just how absurdly talented that
Yeah.
Southern California quarterback scene is. Like it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. Like you're talking about there could be 5 or 6 professional quarterbacks in that small area of California.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, like, it's a really, really special time, I think, to be playing quarterback in Southern California. I think it's like you said, I mean, there's tons of potential pro talent, and I think there's tons of potential pro talent that came a couple years before me. And like I said, guys I mentioned before, JT, Bryce, and DJ. I'm not as close with DJ, but definitely him as well. You saw what he did at Clemson. So I think being around that only helps you though, because you know what it looks like. Like, and I mean this in like the nicest way, but if you're from Omaha, Nebraska, like you don't know, you have nothing to measure yourself up like off of. And I think that's a really important thing. In just like I train with Tyler Buckner 3 times a week. So I know exactly where he's at, and I know he's one of the top dudes in the country, and I know where I'm at. So it's a constant competition in this kind of scene we're in the Southern California quarterback world. And I think that only makes us better. And I think that's been the case since Holinsky and JT came out, since Bryce and DJ came out. And then you have me and Tyler this year, and obviously Jake's in Georgia. But coming through high school, we were all competing. And then you have Malik and Malachi and all those talented guys. So it definitely only makes us better. That's what I would say.
And that's exactly the point I was going with, is like it's every day that you're out there training with, like, whatever group you're with, man. It is really like a murderer's row where,
Oh, it is.
like if you take a step back, you don't even have to worry about, Jake or, that's in your class, or Tyler that's in your class. You're worrying about Malachi showing you up, who's 2 years younger than you. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of funny. So when I started with 3D QB, I was the youngest kid because I was in the 8th grade. So I was in the 8th grade, and then you had JT Daniels, Ryan Holinsky, Jack Tuttle, Bryce Young, and Hank Bachmeyer. And then it was me. So I was by far, at that point, I was by far the worst one. So I'm seeing these guys, like how these guys are playing, like, okay, like this is what it looks like to be a dominant high school quarterback. And I think the same goes now as I see these guys progress and be successful in college, that I'm able to model my game and kind of steal different things. Like I'm just dialed in when I'm in those workouts because I know I can learn things from them, and I'm watching their footwork and all that kind of stuff, and just their process throughout a workout, which I do think is a pretty interesting thing. And I've gotten to be really, really close with a lot of them, and those relationships have only benefited me in my game.
Does it bum you out at all that you're not going to get a chance to play your senior year of high school? Or is it just kind of like, like obviously you're moving on to bigger and better things, but it's also just kind of like, does it suck not to have a bow on the end of that chapter?
Of course. I mean, like there were certain things that I wanted to accomplish my whole life in high school, and I didn't get the opportunity. I mean, you can kind of go through the list if you want, but like Gatorade Player of the Year, 10,000 passing yards, all those kind of things. I think like, and I do think a lot of those things would have come to fruition.
Before we get to rapid fire questions, last thing I want to ask you is, I want you to sell yourself real quick. What makes you the best quarterback in the nation?
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously kind of reluctant to say I'm how great I am or whatever it would be. Um, I think that's for other people to say, in all honesty, and like I can have my opinion, but just for the sake of the show, um, um, I mean, I think at this level, everyone can throw a ball, everyone can throw it 60, everyone can spin it, you can throw a dig, but I do think I separate myself in what I'm willing to put in and what I'm willing to give to kind of make my goals come to fruition. And I think the biggest thing in that is I didn't need to play football. You know what I mean? Like I could have gone and studied architecture or finance or business, but I play football because I truly love it. Like there's nothing else I'd rather be doing. And at a very basic level, like I treat it like it's, and this is kind of a cliche, but it's do or die for me in this situation. Like I just remember competing my freshman year, and looking back on it, it was just, this was not the case. But I was competing with a junior my freshman year of high school just for the varsity job. And every single day I'd be like, no, like this is your life. Like you can't like give a single inch to this guy. The dude was more talented than me. He ended up walking on at Georgia at the time. Like he had a much stronger arm. I was like 5'9", 170. But I do think that's what separates me in a lot of senses. And I do think my understanding of the game, and I think I'm really accurate with the ball. But I mean, that's all to be seen, I think.
I love it, man. I love it.
And I do want to emphasize the idea that like, it's not like I had a bad practice today. It's like, no, you don't get to have a bad practice. Like that's just how it is. And I think that's how it's always been for me. And I think it's because I play the game for the right reasons, I think. And I have no reservation about saying that.
Honestly, like, again, I'm a sports guy, man. Obviously, I'm having a podcast about sports. I'm talking to you about sports. But I think that's a message that gets lost on people is like when we talk about, Alex Rodriguez signing a $250 million contract and you're like, well, he plays a stupid game. He hits a ball with a stick. Like, I get it. Like it's ridiculous that these players get paid this much. But at the same time, do you understand the work that Brady put in to win 6 Super Bowls, to be the greatest quarterback of all time? It's not like he shows up on Sundays and works 16 to 19 days of the year and is just like, see you guys. The physical toll and like the torment he puts through his body and on his mind is just like, you can't fathom it. So like the stuff that you're saying of just being like how hungry you are and how driven you are, man, the people see you on a Friday night or a Saturday, but they don't see the other days. You know what I mean? They don't see what else you're doing. So rapid fire questions, man. Let's have some fun with it. Let's start here. This is a tough one. You can't say yourself. Who is the best quarterback you've ever trained with?
Oh. In terms of like a thrower?
In terms of you're like, man, they got it. Like if I could have their skills, not necessarily maybe a work ethic, but as far as just raw skills, like I'd want to be that guy.
Matthew Stafford for sure. That dude is just
he's got it.
So talented with the football. It's insane. Like
I
don't know if you saw that no look he threw, but like that just I was just like, he does things with the football that are ridiculous. I've never seen Rodgers or Mahomes in person. I'm sure they would have the same effect, but like it's a shame that Stafford spent the last 11 years in Detroit, because like that dude with Andy Reid and like Tyreek Hill would have similar results, I think.
Oh yeah, Matt Stafford's arm talent should never be a question. That he can spin it.
Yeah, no, he's ridiculous.
Favorite food?
Steak for sure.
How do you like your steak cooked?
Medium rare.
Good call.
Yeah.
Favorite candy?
Ooh, I try to stay away from candy, but definitely Snickers.
Snickers, okay. Recommend me a TV show.
Entourage for sure.
Ooh, that's one I haven't seen that in a minute.
Awesome show.
Favorite animal?
I always like, a lion is my favorite animal, but I always said I want a pet giraffe, like, because if like you think about it, it's so tall. Like if you live on the second floor, you could just like reach your head out the window and feed him if you want.
Oh, that's funny. In order, you can go 3, 2, 1 or 1, 2, 3. 3 greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Oh, I think you got to go Brady 1, Rodgers 2, Montana 3.
Okay, I like that list. All right, not going Peyton Manning on the list. Interesting.
I was never a huge Peyton guy, to be honest, just because when I really started watching football, Brady was the guy at that point. So.
You're right. I hate Tom Brady. I mean, I'm a Steelers fan. I despise him. Respect him. He's the GOAT. I don't like him.
Yeah, I just can't argue with the way he's won. Like, and you saw it. Yeah, and when he left New England, like it went to, like, you just can't argue with him.
I'm with you. Yeah. If you couldn't play quarterback, what position would you play?
Safety, probably.
Safety. Oh, that's an interesting one. Favorite type of music and favorite artist?
Oh, hip hop, rap. I don't know. Like, there's so many subgenres of that. But favorite artist. That's tough between Drake and Kanye, honestly. I just think like both of them have so many.
Bro,
like,
absolutely love Kanye. The fact you said Kanye makes me so happy.
Yeah, I mean, like He's a really interesting dude. I think he's like, I do kind of agree. He's a little bit off his rocker lately, but the dude's so talented. I think him and Drake, like, if you listen to their lyrics, like they're just different. Like there's no one on that level.
Okay, last one is, who is your celebrity crush?
Ooh. I gotta go with Margot Robbie. Honestly, like if anyone's seen that Wolf of Wall Street scene when she walks in, like there's no one else you could say. That or like Megan Fox from the Transformers movies, like that was
Can't go wrong with those.
yeah.
One more is, who is somebody you recommend I try to have on the show?
Ooh, definitely Garrett Nussmeyer. Garrett Nussmeyer or Tyler Buckner for sure. But Garrett's he's a fun dude for sure.
Okay. All right. I'll take that consideration. Bro, I appreciate you taking the time. I've had a lot of guys on this show. I've had some great football players, obviously. I've had guys, ranked in the top 20 in the nation. I've had intelligent kids on here. I just had a kid who won a state title in PA who's just got a full ride to Harvard. Like,
Oh, awesome.
You're one of the smartest, well-spoken kids I've had on the show. I thoroughly enjoyed talking to you. There was parts where I kind of forgot I was interviewing you, where I was just like, just kind of just talking.
Yeah.
But no, man, I had a great time. I'm rooting for you at USC. It's awesome to see a kid have his dream come true and still be hungry and just want to be the GOAT, come for that title. I'm rooting for you, man, and I hope to have you back on the show sometime.
Definitely. No, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. My mom would really appreciate it too.
Guys, if you like the episode, click like and subscribe. Check out my guy, Instagram, Twitter. He's going to be special. That's all I got to say. I'll see you guys next time.
Thank you. Fight on.